Okay, so I was just looking up something else. I was looking up hydrating and dehydrating. I can actually feel this happen in my own system, and I never really realized it until I was looking on the internet, and I was looking at Rudolph Valentino. Now, Rudolph Valentino is somebody that I've always sort of connected with. I like his effeminate nature. He's like an alpha male, but he's also something that women are super attracted to. But he's like effeminate. He's like a dandy, but he was the alpha male. And that's why I named my cat Valentino, because he's like this effeminate male cat. However, he's like always the alpha cat. Like he's always this calm, very curious individual, but somehow is alpha. Like somehow it's just like, he's in charge for some reason. So anyways, I was looking that up, and I realized that, okay, so I got out of the shower, right? And I did something different with my hair. I was like playing with my hair, and I was trying to look like, all studious and stuff, right? So that's what I did. And then when I looked at his picture, Rudolph Valentino, like from the 1920s, his hair was like slicked back. So it was like literally by changing my own physical feature without even realizing it, I ended up looking him up. It was like I literally channeled him without even realizing it. But I followed my intuition, and then that's when I realized, I was like, whoa. I just realized that the reason why I was so like in tune and attracted to that individual was because maybe there was something really important about that individual that I enjoy, and I did it without realizing it because I was playing with my hair just to play with it, and it was slicked the same way as his hair. You know what I mean? It was like I followed my intuition and just was doing whatever without thinking about it, and I realized a greater truth. And in that moment, it was like my eyes, like my eyes got real big, and it was like that alignment moment. And in that alignment moment, it was like the whole flipping thing happened again. It was like on my back, and I always like try to help it move through my system. So I'll roll my shoulders back, and it's like flip, 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 like when you get chills or something like that. But it's on my spinal cord. There's like a difference between like electron discharge or something, like when you just get the hairs on your arms, they stand up on end, and then there's a difference when your spinal cord does it. It's a different kind of truth. It's like it works its way from the center out. And when I felt that, what I realized was that I was drinking some Dunkin' Donuts pumpkin coffee, and I realized that there's like a lot of oil. There's a lot of oil from the, like the sugar and the cream that they put in it. Because like if you heat it up and then let it settle, there's like a skim. There's like a film that's on it, right? And that's like, I don't know, is that the oil? I guess it could be. But it's like a concentrated like viscosity, kind of like maybe what the earth actually has, is like this viscosity, this extra layer to protect it from the sun. Crap. Yeah, okay. So it's like when I drank that fluid, I realized I was getting kind of oily, kind of concentrated. Concentrated is the best way I can describe it. And you sort of feel like, well, maybe I'm just super in tune with it, but it's like I felt like kind of oily, like I needed to work things out on my system. And what I thought was interesting, it was like by drinking that liquid and then realizing, it's almost like, okay, it's like I drank the liquid, I felt fine, it tasted good. And then it was like while I was searching and searching and searching and looking at this man's picture and looking at other things that reminded me of other things, it was like I was exhausting resources by doing that. It was like if I could picture it, what I imagine is like my little cell bodies. They have that plasm, that cytoplasm or whatever it is. I don't have the picture, but it's like the actual fluid, the stuff that's in their immediate atmosphere. Okay, it's like a plasma. It's like a clear liquid, like the liquid that's in your eyeballs. And it's like I imagine it seeping out. So like I'm concentrating, I'm looking at stuff, and I imagine it's kind of like like coming like coming out of the cell body, right? And then I feel kind of like oily and like, I don't know, like kind of oily, like I need to work it out or something. But then when I realized a great truth, like when I was concentrating until I ran right into a wall, and I was like, oh my goodness. And I realized something about that. Then I felt the flipping motion. It was like flip, 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 flip. It's almost as if, well, this is what I picture. I picture my cell body releases that stuff, that concentrated formula, to help me like keep going and keep going and keep going and look for something important. And then as soon as I felt the truth, it was almost as if they rotated. It's almost as if like a crank machine. Like all my cells are like, yay, like let's move it through the system now. Let's move it through the system, like a conveyor belt, or like, you know, those belts with wheels where you chart it off on its way. It's like in that moment, it was like whatever fluid was in my body, it was moving around. It was like, oh, we're looking for something, and then bam, and then it's like, all right, let's keep it moving. So it's like it just goes down your system a lot quicker, because it's like that moment of truth, that excitement that you can either feel on the outside by seeing somebody or feeling something or working it out, like running around or anything, or it also happens on the inside. I'm not really sure what the difference is quite yet, but maybe it's like bringing the two together. Maybe it's something like bringing the two together. Maybe it's just the act of realizing it. Maybe that's it. Just realizing that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so the hydrate thing, what I think of is like that's the stuff that comes out of your cells, that plasma, you know? And then the dehydrate is like moving it through the system. So it's like you're concentrating, it releases the fluid, you realize what you were looking for, it releases the fluid to go through your system. And you can do it on the outside or on the inside, because I think that's what I picture when it happens inside my body. And I also looked up something else. Like when I looked up hydrate, I looked up Hydra, because I know Hydra is a constellation also in our solar system, well, in space. And it's Hydra, like in mythology, is a serpent-like water monster with reptilian traits. Possessed many heads, which I think of as like dimensional frequencies, like many facets. You know, like you're this in this realm, but then like, you know, like a shapeshifter or something like that. For each head that was cut off, it grew 2 more. I think maybe what that means is like when you realize a great truth, maybe it's like you now create 2 possibilities that you can look at again. Maybe like an atom bomb where you hit 1 and then it comes out to 2, and then this, you know, like you got 1 and then 2 and then 2 and then 2 and then 2. You know what I mean? Like a molecular structure. And I also looked up Hydra as a genus type. It's a small, simple freshwater animal that possess radial symmetry, and it's found in most unpolluted freshwater ponds, lakes, and streams in the temperate and tropical regions, and can be found by gently sweeping a collecting net through weedy areas. They are multicellular organisms which are usually a few millimeters long and are best studied with a microscope. Biologists, I thought this was really interesting. Biologists are especially interested in Hydra due to their regenerative ability, and they appear to not age or die of old age. Like they appear not to age at all. And they appear to not die of old age at all. Like basically, they have such incredible regenerative abilities, which is like what I just made my last video about, which was the entropy and regeneration of cells. And I love the way that it says it appears. It appears. So even the scientist that wrote this stuff down in Wikipedia was like, Well, it appears not to. Well, you know what? It appears that people pass away, but maybe that's what tree science is, you know? Like, maybe that's the reason why we got to respect the smaller things, because you've got Hydra. I don't have the picture with me right now. And you know what? I'll just draw it real quick so you can see what it looks like. Okay, it looks like... Alright, well, it's not perfect, but this is very, very similar. It looks like this. Okay? I mean, it's more bubbly and soft looking. This is kind of severe. But it's like a little tiny water animal. And it's a multicellular, not a single cellular. Well, I mean, I don't know what the difference is. Maybe that's also another perception. But it's like, you've got that looks like a tree, right? Well, it also looks like a person with crazy hair down. But, I mean, it's like that also looks like broccoli, and broccoli also looks like a tree, and a tree also looks like, I mean, a million things, you know what I mean? And I'm really attracted to trees. I have them all over my body, like the tattoos, and I'm wondering if, I mean, I already know that the smallest things replicate the bigger things, but sometimes when you get super microscopic, you realize that it is totally regenerative. Like, maybe by looking at something super, 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 super small, just like the atom, you know what I mean? We realize that it never goes away. It never dies. Nothing ever happens. Well, I'm not saying nothing ever happens. What I'm saying is that just by realizing that great truth, that the smallest things, they don't die. They don't die. And those smaller things make up the bigger things, like atoms making up Adam, a human being. But if you look at it, the smallest, simplest, most tiniest particle ever, you realize it's never not there. It never dies. It's always there. So to even think that we pass away just doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make scientific sense. We can't even prove that things actually die. Because if you take it at the smallest structure, if you strip it away to its smallest structure, you realize that doesn't go anywhere. And if it's made of all those tiny little things, and really, the only thing that happened is it changed its form. Just like the I forget what it's called, the law of thermodynamics, the law of, where energy is not created nor destroyed, it simply just transforms. I mean, totally. I mean, yes, I know it's a saying and everyone knows it, but I mean, this is real life. This is people. This is plants. This is animals. This is why we probably have like nuclear meltdowns and spills, and we say, oh, but it killed all the ocean life, and it you know, it hurt all these people. And yes, the atomic bomb was pretty disastrous, and it did all these other things. And I'm not trying to discredit the horror and the dysfunction in that. However, with disorder comes order. So yes, it happened. However, now we have like huge fish to feed all the people that we have on this planet, which is a whole crap load of planets, whole crap load of people. And we're wondering, well, how are we going to feed all these people? But by that mistake of all of that pollution going into there, actually created like a much even bigger animals, so that we'll be able to feed everybody. So I mean, yes, it seems like a pretty catastrophic, like terrible moment, but sometimes out of those really messed up moments, you find that it actually fixed the problem that we were worried about. Dang. Okay. That's all I have for now. Thanks for watching.